Alright, let's see if we can make it the rest of the way to Mythic tonight. Should be able to get close if we don't quite make it there. We're already pretty close. Start where we left off with the Xur deck and see if we want to make any more changes to it. I really like where we got it to last night. Don't know why I can't hear anything. It's decent. Lay Down Arms is not particularly strong in this hand, showing why sometimes it is better to have the other. Fast turn. They're playing its Pixie deck again. Not shocking. This is going to be, I think, the most popular deck on the ladder again. It is the new hotness. We're going to take 7 here. Next turn we get to play Overlord of the Mistmoors and have a Leyline Binding up, which is pretty good. Or we can cast Lay Down Arms. Lay Down Arms and Leyline Binding are about the same at this point. Hopeless Nightmare will discard the Get Lost. I don't know what that card does. What do you do? Destroy target creature an opponent controls, mana value 2 or less, create a food token, create a Wicked Roll token. Okay. Should be beatable. Put this on Wizard. For whenever we draw a Xur. Impending an Overlord. And then I think I'm just going to Lay Down Arms the Optimistic Scavenger here. We have a Leyline Binding for the Nurturing Pixie. Depending on what they want to do with combat here, we can maybe trade for the Spiteful Hexmage. Nowhere to run. Lose a 2-1 here. I feel like they're probably just attacking with the 3-3 then. 100% blocking the 3-2. We'll gladly trade. Talent's a little annoying. Up the Beanstalk was a phenomenal draw. So here I think I want to Herd Migration to gain 3 life. Grab a Plains, put us as far out of death range here as we can. And then we'll go ahead and tag the Nurturing Pixie. And that's the one that gives Ward 1, right? +1/+1. Oh, and lose a life. Okay. Not the Royal Token. Royal Token's the Ward 1. I think if Hopeless Nightmare is a little annoying. Mainly because it hits us for 2. It's going to put us to 2 after combat. So we're dead to Hopeless Nightmare off the top, or we're not dead to a removal spell, because we're going to get a Overlord of the Hauntwoods. Question is, do we want to just play? I think we're just playing Overlord here. Just hoping they don't draw a bounce spell or another Hopeless Nightmare this turn. I'm definitely double blocking. They have a lot of things that are bad for us, like this town ain't big enough, Fear of Isolation, Hopeless Nightmare would have been bad, another Pixie. Thank you. I think we're casting this, see what we find. We find as there the game ends. Or Analyze the Pollen. Does Analyze the Pollen do it? Do we have enough? Yeah, Analyze the Pollen also works. Herd Migration, Beza. Analyze the Pollen, that'll do. So we're going to tag the Hopeless Nightmare and force them to sack. Then now we get to go grab Zur, gain a bunch of life, and the game ends. Okay, here we want Max Bezas. Day of Judgment's better than Sunfall, I think. Want the Frill back. And I can probably cut the Atraxa. I think I kind of like the rest of what we're doing here. 2 Wraths is probably fine. We might want a third. It's split up better than second Sunfall. Probably is. Let's try that. Beza really is just like the best card we can put in our deck against the Hopeless Nightmare deck. It's way better for us than like playing Obstinate Baloth or Woodleaf Liege. Sand's fine. Nothing overly flashy, but I mean, we have a removal spell, ways to get extra lands, up the Beanstalk. The Beanstalk's really good in this matchup. White Overlord is usually really good, but we really need lands here. Also, like, powers up our Analyze Upon pretty quick if we decide we want to go that route. Hopeless Nightmare. Probably just ditch the Herd Migration here. And this is definitely an Up the Beanstalk turn. I can toss a counter around. Another Up the Beanstalk. Beza's a good one. Can't cast it next turn, but we can pass here. And then we can kill the Optimistic Scavenger with the Get Lost. They're going to pick these two up. That's a pretty good draw for them. Now they get to cast 3 1-drop spells this turn. That is strange to me. Pretty evident that they just have a counterspell in hand. So what I'm going to do to play around that. I'll play this first and see if they want to counter this. I don't think they will. I would like them to. I don't think they will. Yeah, I don't think this is what you're supposed to counter in this situation. And I think we're just going and grabbing a Cavern of Souls. I guess we just go grab a White Source. It's bad into second No More Lies. But it allows us to cast our Split Up. I'll ask you to do that. I think Zer's going bye-bye here. Fear of Isolation, I'm sure they'll keep on top. We're at 3. I can Beza, draw a card, gain 4 life, make 2 1/1s, or we can split up Wrath the board. So I think I'd rather Beza. We'll play this on Wizard. Play Beza, gain 4 life, get 2 1/1s, draw a card. Go ahead. Hey, thank you for the sub. Appreciate it. How you doing, Chops? Appreciate the support. We're going to try to make it to Mythic tonight, hopefully. That's the goal, at least. See if we can weed our way through all of these Esper Pixie decks, which are everywhere these days. Alright, Critter down. I think I like the choice we made. Block both, save life. I think there's a Tranquil Throwback turn. We'll split up next turn. Gain 4 life. Destroy Storm Chaser's talent. Assuming there's picking up Hopeless Nightmare and re-Hopeless Nightmaring us seems to be the thing that makes the most sense. I was playing a Restless Reef, which is interesting. Not usually a whole lot of creature lands in those decks. Usually don't play any. It's a thing to watch out for in the future. We should have to protect our life total as much as we can. Take 5. It's an interesting draw. We can't play this and Urzur this turn. That's unfortunate. That basic forest. If you're a... I guess if we would have tapped... Oh, if we would tap the basic forest... No, because we couldn't tap island and forest. We had to tap double white. That sucks. There is so much pixie floating around. So much of it. It is everywhere. That might lock the door on us here. That puts us to 3, or puts us to 1, I mean. I mean, technically we're not dead, I guess, because of Zur. Let's Surveil. Don't want to swamp. Play Zur. We can block with our Up the Beanstalk to gain life. This can block the Fear of Isolation. They have to draw, like, tap land for us to be okay here. Okay. I mean, that's what they had to draw. And then we have to draw something good. Because that card's really good against us. I think we're animating our Up the Beanstalk. That's bad if we draw exactly Sunfall. But I guess we're dead if we draw Sunfall if we don't do this. Because we're dead to the Restless Reef. Lay down arms. I cannot live with that draw. Okay, I still like where we're at. At least as well as we can for this matchup. It's almost easy. Dude, it's all over the place. It is the ladder right now. You are playing against Pixie. That deck is so incredibly popular. I don't like this, but I think we can keep it. I think we've tooled our deck to be at a pretty decent spot against it. I would highly recommend it. The Delirium is probably really good against that deck, right? Hushwood Verge is great. I really don't feel like our matchup is that bad against it for the most part. Oh, with the yeah, that'd do it too. I'm wondering if the green-white decks, the token decks, the cage decks are going to start playing like 2 or 3 Wiltleaf Legion in the main. Yeah, I like the Pixie decks. I'm not upset with Pixie decks being good. I think the Pixie cards are really cool. They lead to really interesting games most of the time. I think here, honestly, I just want to grab a white source and kill this Optimistic Scavenger so we're not too low by the time we try to Day of Judgment. I feel like we can't let that stick around. We need to force them to like pay mana this turn to do things. Put Legion in the sideboard. Jeez. Even in that? I like a couple sweepers. You can't just rely on the early removal because if they can have draws where 1 removal spell or 2 is not good enough. I think you kind of want a couple sweepers, but I don't like Sunfall. Like, I think you want Day of Judgment and Split Up in this matchup as opposed to like Sunfalls. My current sweep for removal in this is, I think I'm on 2 Lay Down Arms, 1 Day of Judgment, 3 Sunfall in the main, and then I've got 1 Split Up in the board. Kind of want to go down to 2-2 Split for Sunfall Day, but Sunfall is so good against the... I'd rather have Sunfall against the Heartfire Hero decks, and that's the other deck that's on the ladder all over the place. Yes. So, Lay Down Arms has been really good. It's been a little better than Elspeth's Smite. We don't play very many planes, but you really only ever need 1 in play for the most part. It's not always good enough, but usually one is all you need. I think I have the green light to Zur here. Hey, Rats, how's it going? I wish Spell Pierce was in this format. That was one of the cards that I had like pegged to for sure be in Foundations, and it wasn't. Made me real sad. I absolutely love Spell Pierce as a card I wish was almost always in Standard. The new 3 Blind Mice deck? No, I have not seen it. Honestly, don't think I could probably tell you what 3 Blind Mice does. Oh, we got a bunch of dragons in here today. I didn't even look at the shop. Well, we got the first one against Pixies. Let's go. Infinite 3 Blind Mice. It's inevitable. Huh? Oh, now I gotta look and see what it does. You've intrigued me. What do you do? Oh, it's a saga? Create a 1/1 mouse. Create a token that's a copy of target token you control. Creatures you control get +1/+1. I'm assuming you copy the 3 blind mice to make a token copy of it so you can copy itself over and over and over again, I would assume. I'm technically running 4-color. I'm not playing red for the red Overlord. I don't think it's good enough right now. I think it costs you too much. Doppelgang 3 blind mice, that is funny. That's hilarious. That seems like a good time. I love Doppelgang. I'll Doppelgang anytime I get the chance. I will definitely give that a shot once we make it into Mythic. I don't know if I want to give it a shot before that, but I think I would give that a shot in Mythic. Turn to 𝔹𝕃℃𝔻. Probably the 𝔹𝕃℃𝔻 Terror deck. Yep, okay. Definitely want the land. And get lost the Beanstalk on our turn. And then we can untap an Overlord. You gotta be careful with that. I have decked myself multiple times with Doppelgang. You gotta be real careful with that. Very easy to deck yourself. I've also crashed Arena quite a few times. Doppelgang is really good at crashing Arena. Lesser and 4 Doppelgang. I don't hate that. Is it playing any Zer? And then 4 mice. I mean, the mice just making tokens isn't even that bad. 1/1 tokens in this format are pretty decent. It gives you a reasonable target to Doppelgang for 1, which is funny. Tolarian Terror. Probably don't want an unsummon against me. Okay, redo. Interesting. That's not what I was expecting. I suppose we're just going to Leyline Binding the Tolarian Terror. So we'll Herd Migration for a land. I think it's like the safest play. Yes, copying Leyline's also a good time. I definitely Doppelgang Leyline a few times. It's a good time. Let's go ahead and Overlord. Our late arms are looking particularly bad in this matchup, weirdly enough. Not super thrilled that we drew 2 of them this game. Or both of them, I guess. But that will happen. My mana's been good. I haven't really had too many issues with it. I've been pretty happy with the mana base in here. Cutting the blue Overlord helps a lot as well with the mana. I've been very happy with that change. The blue Overlord is pretty bad, in my opinion. They have 5, so I can play Terror for 3. No, 2. It's cost 7. Well, not anymore. Well, I can't cast Crab. So we can Zer double animate. They have to have double unsummon here. Because I have to be able to bounce Berserker and bounce our enchantment creature. You gonna let me attack? I'll pump this up. They can tap down my 2 giant critters if they want. Then I'll just hold back my 2/2/1s. -1 island, +1 plains. That's fair. Without playing the without playing the blue overlord, I don't think you need as many islands or blue sources in general. Controlling route or more aggro route with storm chasers. Yeah. Okay. Flush Portico. Can always animate our leyline binding here too. I think the deck has been completely solved. Someone have a link to that deck, that the 4-color mice deck? I would actually like to try that tonight at some point in time whenever we do make it into Mythic. I think it'd be a lot of fun. Does sound interesting at least. They're notably playing the black version, so they'll have nowhere to runs. Potentially duress post board. I don't know if they're playing any black in the main. Usually they don't play anything. If they do, they play like 1 or 2 nowhere to runs maximum from the list that I've been seeing recently. Do you have another bounce spell? Still not lethal, even if they do. They could have a nowhere to run, which would be a little annoying, but even if they do, then we get a crack back with our 2 overlords with lifelink, so it doesn't really matter. Ooh, they could bounce their 2 crabs. But they can only recast 1. Bounce Overlord Crab. Ah, they didn't leave up double blue. That's unfortunate. The auto tapper got him. The companion on the right? Oh, I missed it. Oh, their companion? I think that's the little platypusy thing from... The platypus from, what's it called? Is that the detective one from, Murders at Karlov Manor, I think. Definitely want the rest in pieces. Negates are decent. Tranquil Throwback's great. That card's not necessary. Lay Down Arms is awful. I don't mind a couple Wraths in this matchup. It doesn't really matter what they are. Split Up's the least good of them. Probably just like 1 day, 1 Sunfall. The rest of our deck all seems pretty fine. We just need them to not get super far ahead of us. Get lost, go the long way here. If we can ever stick a rest in peace, we're so far ahead. Sand is not good enough. Sand is much better. Yeah, that's the one from the Murders Battle Pass. Or whatever they call it. Season Pass or whatever it is in this game. Ideally, we'll draw a green source at some point in time. Double Bush Fack. Yeah, I used this avatar for a while. Or this companion for a little while. Oh, that was a good draw. Yeah, just more lands is exactly what we want. We stuck our annoying card. Avatar. Just going to stick our threat. We start pressuring them before they can do anything to our rest in peace. Apparently, opponent could not interact with our rest in peace. Diamond tier 2. Let's go. Yes, they said rest in peace. Too good. I'm out. We've had a lot of success with her. It's the only thing we've played so far in the new season on stream. I think we're like 18-5, 18-6, depending on the different changes we've made. Deck feels really powerful. I mean, it's consistent, has a really good top end. No one can go over you, really, unless they're playing like a doppelgang desert deck or something ridiculous that is going to lose to all the aggro decks. Not true. We did lose to the matchup that we actually just could never beat, which was actual blue-black control that was playing the Cavern of Souls and the Demons and Jaces. Never beating that matchup. But unsure how that deck ever beats Pixies, so I think we're safe on that matchup. I think on average we've got a pretty good matchup against most things, at least how we're configured currently. We're definitely a little light on hate for the mirror. I would prefer not to play the mirror if possible, because we definitely teched our deck to beat the aggro decks. But I think that's where you have to be in the current format. I do like having a Cavern of Souls against the blue-black deck. We'll go ahead and kill... Oh, they didn't have a Fairy Mastermind. Ayo, that's good for us. Do we think they have a Tishana's Tidebinder? Well, with that draw, I don't care. So if they don't have one, we're in a really good spot. Worst case scenario for us here is like Tishana's Tidebinder into Enduring Curiosity. But we dodge that. I don't think they're mandatory, by far. I think that they are reasonable, but I do not think you have to play them. What I like about the Herds is they give you a tiny bit of life buffer game one in matchups that are kind of rough. It allows you to cheat a little bit on lands, and it also fuels up your Analyze the Pollens pretty well. Anytime you get to do this, it feels like the game completely ends on the spot. Yes. Anytime you get to turn 3 Overlord and to Zur kill the opposing Kaito, the game feels like it is so over. Ditch those. Play Sunfall. Tranquil Throwback also isn't a bad card to have. Let's try that. I think it's where I want to be. Beza I like quite a bit. Get Lost are great. Lay Down Arms is fine against the early threats. Elspeth Smite's good. Tranquil Throwback is like a clean answer to an Enduring Curiosity as well. I definitely wouldn't play more than 2 herd migrations. I think two is probably the maximum amount I would play. It also makes sideboarding really easy because it's like 80% of the time what you cut. Sand is just never a keep. Sand is closer than it looks. I really don't have to fight for land drops, though. But we have, like, 2 good, cheap removal spells to keep ourselves from getting too far behind. Problem is, if we're paying to hit our land drops, we're not going to be able to cast them anyway. We have, like, 2 free lands and the 2 overlords. They kept us 7, so I don't really want to go down anymore. I think we're supposed to keep this and hope we just draw a couple lands. Don't want that one. They're playing Fear of Isolation. Okay, so they're playing the more bouncy version. We need to go grab a forest here so we can Overlord next turn, and then we can Elspeth Smite this Fear of Isolation so they can't put a Kaito into play. We're still doing this anyway, even though they can't Kaito. Cryptic Coat. I like it. I like what opponent is doing. I love Cryptic Coat right now. I think Cryptic Coat's really good. Not great against the Pixie decks, but I think it's really good against all the mid-range decks. It's such an annoying permanent to deal with. This looks a lot like the blue-black deck we were playing a little while ago. So we were not playing Spyglass Siren. Let's go with Big Overlord here. Hopeless Nightmare. I suppose we're losing our swamp. Critter down. Man, a Sunfall off the top would be pretty good right about now. That's a basic plains. Not quite what we're looking for. Let's see what we can find. That's a good one. I do just want to kill this now, I think. Next turn we'll have a green Overlord and a white Overlord in play as long as it doesn't get countered. 2 flyers. It's about the best spot we can be in, I think. Ditch to nowhere to run. That's interesting. So playing the Archaeologist over playing, like, Thundertrap Trainer? I don't know how I feel about that. I really like Thundertrap Trainer in that list. That's a way better on defense, I guess. It's one, looks at one card less. Non-creature, non-land card. It's inside without a care. Right, no... This town ain't big enough. And we need a Drawzer. I will gladly double block. As Beza gains this life as well, which would be fine. I don't know what that does. Turn target creature card from graveyard to your hand. That doesn't kill us on its own. That puts us to 1. That kills us, though. So they're definitely more aggressive than mid-range. Let's try that. Just slight adjustment. So... This hand is really good just in general, so we're going to keep it. But we definitely could just get ran over before we get to do our thing. But I don't think you can ever mulligan the up the beanstalk into Overlord hand. It's just way too powerful. That's the land that allows us to do everything on curve. Fear back your Hopeless Nightmare. Name Wizard. Really hoping they cast something else before the Hopeless Nightmare. Damn. Think it's Hedge Maze. Leyline Binding was a really good draw. I think I'm okay with them picking up Fear here. Do not want them to pick that back up, though. And the other thing with this, you have to make sure you kill it with the trigger on the stack, because Fear of Isolation is a cast trigger. So they get to pick it up regardless if you don't kill it with the trigger on the stack. This is like a decent Sunfall turn if we want to. Because it also allows us to then next turn be able to analyze the Pollen for Azure. But I also think that just casting Overlord is fine because they're not really applying that much pressure to us. They can sack 3. I guess like maximum they could deal us 4, 5, 6, 7 damage this turn to put us to 7. probably safest just to do this. We are very, very far ahead. So grab big ol' Zer here. Sound now, please. I think it only needs to be banned. I think that's probably fair. I'll definitely give it a shot tonight once we make it into Mythic. I have no qualms with giving that deck a shot. It sounds like a lot of fun. Continue moving along here. Then we can tank our rank once we make it into Mythic. It'll be a good time. That's why I run the Celestial Overlord. Yeah, that's fair. Only having Beanstalk as draw isn't always the best. Beanstalk is so good, though. Like, this hand is keepable because we have Beans. Plenty of Pixies again. Or is it just actual blue-black this time? Sleight of hand, it's got to be like blue-black Pixies. This is very true. Yep. Games you draw Beanstalk and versus games you don't draw Beanstalk are such different games. Sleight of hand and opt, huh? What are we doing, opponent? I'll play this